Hi, I'm Nived Verma here, and I would like to explain to you about Azure Cloud Shell. Azure Cloud Shell is an interactive, authenticated, browser accessible shell for managing Azure resources. The administrators who normally want to run a script or they find it cumbersome to perform the task from the portal, and also after some point of time they want to also run scripts for automating various things, various tasks for their Azure subscriptions. They can use this interactive shell which is built inside their browser, and using this shell they will be able to manage the resources which they want to or they work with Azure subscription. It provides you with two familiar interfaces. One is Powershell Interface, and this is primarily for Azure admins who come from Windows background, Windows administration background. They are Wintel uh, administrators, and they are familiar and they have good skills in PowerShell, Microsoft's own shell for managing Windows operating system and other software. The other is the Bash shell, which is primarily for administrators who come from non-Windows background, like they are already familiar with the Bourne shell, which is a very popular interface for managing the Linux or Unix flavor of operating systems. With these two types of interfaces available, the administrators have the flexibility to choose and manage their resources via command line within the browser itself. And the greatest advantage is that they don't have to install any additional software within their laptops or desktops or admin PCs to manage their resources from the command prompt. Let us now learn how to open the Cloud Shell and then start managing resources on Azure Cloud using the different commands and commandlets that are available to us.
If I click on Cloud Shell, I will be taken to a prompt. Right now you can see that I have two types of command line interfaces. One is PowerShell. So it is now logging me into the PowerShell because yesterday I used PowerShell in my last session. I can maximize this screen and I can be at PowerShell Prompt. This PowerShell prompt is a command line prompt where as soon as I opened it within the browser with my existing credential, Azure has already authenticated me to the cloud service. This is the account which it has used to authenticate me. If at all I want to work, I can very much use the PowerShell command in order to manage my resources. Like for example, here if at all I type a PowerShell command because I come from a Windows background and I have an experience in Azure Cloud, I will know the commands that I am supposed to be using here. Let us say suppose if at all I say here Azure, and if at all I say Azure subscription, get Azure subscription, and I press enter. It is telling me this is the subscription which is available to me. A detail has been displayed to me in the command line window. Right? So when you look at this way, this is an interface through which also I can manage and I can do a lot of things in Azure as such over there. At any point of time, I can switch from this to bash prompt. That means if I come from a Unix background, I'm more familiar with a Unix, I can do that. I can click on bash. It is saying switch to bash in Cloud Shell, confirm. Right? So I say confirm yes. Right? So this is my bash prompt. Right? Now on this bash prompt, I cannot use PowerShell commandlet over here. Right? I have to I have to go and use the commands which are from what is called as Azure CLI. CLI is command line instructions which are available to me. Now the similar way as I had obtained the information about my subscription, I can also go about getting the list of subscriptions within this prompt as well. So the command for that would be, all CLI commands start with AZ. I can say here account, then I can say here list, and I want this output to be displayed in a tabular format. By default, if I press enter now, the information displayed by the CLI will always be in the JSON format. Let me press enter and show you. You can see that this is the JSON format. The output is displayed to me in JSON. It is a JSON array which has cloud name, home tenant ID, all right, name, state, user, whoever has been logged in, etc. It is telling me name is live.com at whatever is there, and type is user. The same command can give me the information in a much formatted manner when I say this command and I say hyphen output, and I want to display this output in tabular format. So I say here table. When I press enter, you can see that this information has been formatted and it is displayed to me in a much better human readable form. It is telling me here about the name, etc. But you see the amount of information is little limited here as such in this case. Right, so I can go and possibly use this kind of interface to manage my resources or manage my cloud operations. So this is the brief demo of three interfaces: the Azure CLI, which you just now saw, the Azure PowerShell, which I had shown you, and of course we saw here as well that how exactly I have shown you that how to go about using the portal interface. Right, so I can use any one of these interfaces to manage my resources on